Sometimes, a simple promise can become a mission. And sometimes, what begins as compassion ends up changing two lives forever. This is the true story of a nurse, a dying man, and a bond shattered by time, but healed by love. It was a Tuesday morning when Emily first read Walter Jenkins' name on the shift chart. Room 209. Male. Late-stage cancer. No known relatives. Just another patient, or so she thought. She walked in and was greeted by silence. Walter sat by the window, his skin pale, his eyes distant. He didn't even look at her. Days passed. She changed his sheets, brought his meals, adjusted his meds. He never spoke more than a word or two. Until the 7th day. That afternoon, as rain tapped gently against the glass, Walter turned his head. His voice cracked as he asked Emily, "If you were dying, would you regret something?" Caught off guard, she looked into his eyes and nodded. That's when he told her he had a brother, Thomas. They hadn't spoken in 30 years. Not since the fight. He didn't explain what the argument was about, only that it ended badly, and neither of them had reached out since. Now, with every breath growing heavier, he just wanted to see him one more time. "I don't want to leave this world with that silence between us," he whispered. Emily couldn't sleep that night. She remembered every patient she had seen pass on with regrets. Regrets they had whispered into her ear when it was too late. But not this time. She made a silent vow she would find Thomas Jenkins, no matter what it took. The next morning, she began. First, she checked the hospital database. Nothing. Then public records, churches, retirement groups. She spoke to local pastors, community volunteers, even a librarian who remembered the Jenkins family. 4 days, it led to dead ends, until an elderly neighbor mentioned a Thomas Jenkins who used to fix radios on the east side of town. Emily followed the lead. There, behind a small shop with peeling paint, she found him. Gray hair, tired eyes, and a heart still carrying 30 years of silence. When she told him that Walter was alive and dying, Thomas went still. He sat down slowly, staring at the ground. He admitted he thought of Walter every year, that he kept a photo of them as boys in his drawer. He was too proud, too afraid to call. Now it might be too late. Emily placed a hand on his shoulder and said the words Walter couldn't. "He misses you. He still loves you. And he's waiting." Thomas didn't respond. But the next morning, he was at the hospital. When Thomas entered room 209, time stopped. Walter turned his head, and for the first time in weeks, his face lit up. They didn't say much. They didn't need to. A single tear rolled down Walter's cheek, and Thomas said the words he had rehearsed for decades in silence. "I'm sorry, brother. I should have come sooner." Walter reached out his hand. They held on like two souls afraid to let go again. In the days that followed, the hospital room turned into something sacred. Thomas brought old photo albums. They laughed about their childhood mischief. Walter shared memories Thomas never knew, and Thomas told Walter about the wife he had lost and the son who looked just like him. Emily often stood by the door, watching quietly, knowing she was witnessing a miracle, forgiveness in its purest form. On a quiet Sunday morning, Walter took his last breath. Thomas was there, holding his hand. He whispered, "I love you," as the machines went silent. Walter left the world not alone, but at peace. Emily didn't just care for a patient. She carried out a mission of the heart. She gave two brothers something that time had tried to steal: closure, forgiveness, and love. Because sometimes the greatest healing doesn't come from medicine. It comes from a promise kept. If this story touched your heart, leave a like and subscribe to the channel to follow the most beautiful stories for your heart. See you in the next video.